And I thought there for a moment, I was thinking, now, are they telling this as like, hey, we're heading back and kind of keep us up to date? Or are they giving me a 10-minute warning, says Tom, wink, wink, we're heading back?
So the big question is this. How are leaders like you that recognize people and technology are the backbone of the company they're building continue to make progress when they have no clear idea on how to develop individuals and utilize technology in a way that helps them remain profitable? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. This is Tom and Michaela, and welcome to the Heart and Hustle Podcast.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
You're recording already.
I am.
All right. Y'all ready for this?
I still like that song.
I know, it's a good song.
It's funny. I can oftentimes hear the song in my head,
Yeah?
like in its full, like, I don't know, tones or music, or I can hear it playing. It's so like rich to my soul.
Yeah.
But yet, when I try to even repeat the words, like I can say the words in my head
Fail.
and go all the way through it, but I cannot actually get the words to my mouth or even make a tune out of it.
Yeah. Neither can I at all.
Yeah. Anyways, everybody, welcome back, I guess, to the Heart and Hustle podcast.
We keep saying that. Like,
we do, but it's like we've been very like weird lately. Like we're on and then we're off and we're on and we're off. And it's like this has to be the week of consistency.
the week of consistency?
Well,
We can handle a week of consistency.
Yeah, we've had weeks and months of inconsistencies.
We have. Yeah.
I mean, we got back from Washington D.C. 3 days ago?
Or 3 months.
I know.
It feels like this has been the longest 2 weeks ever.
Yeah, I mean, when we were in D.C., the first day and a half we're there, it felt like we were there for a week.
I know. It was
it's
a
like
long
this
trip.
has to stop.
It was a long trip.
It was.
Yeah, and we got back and we worked Thursday and Friday here in town,
Mm-hmm.
and it felt like a week and a half.
It did. Those 2 days were just so jam-packed. It
Yeah.
just was ridiculous.
It was crazy.
A lot of cool stuff, though. A lot of meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do you think DC went for Jason's Heart? This is obviously going to be dedicated a little bit towards Jason's Heart this time, I think. But see what else pops out from this. But what were your thoughts? Well, how was the trip?
I thought it was really good. I thought it was good for Jason and Matt, especially, to be able to connect with a lot of people from, that they hadn't necessarily met before, especially Matt. Just a lot of people from even our Nebraska chapter, Navajo. So that was good. And I think it was just a good experience to see how big this actually is.
Yeah, it was a pretty big event. It was funny because, we're lying in bed, we're all sharing a suite, and, Matt and Jason are kind of in a different room next to us, I guess, if you would. And I'm lying there. It's 6 o'clock in the morning, kind of starting to get up. And those two boys are like up and going.
Oh, they were like,
it's like,
up and going. They were like at coffee and conversations or something like that.
Coffee
at
and
7 o'clock in the
and
morning.
Coffee and conversations. Like we're heading.
Yeah.
And what I found funny, like, of the whole thing was, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but like when they're coming back, like we were at the hotel or we're at the Gaylord Convention Center there in National Harbor, and we're coming back, and you and I were, for the most part, pretty separated from Matt and Jason from the entire trip.
Yeah.
But I noticed this, like, you and I would come back to the hotel room to kind of regroup or, grab a water or something and work for a little bit and all that kind of stuff. And I get this text from usually Jason, sometimes Matt, just says, "Hey, we're heading back." And I thought there for a moment, I was thinking, now, are they telling this as like, hey, we're heading back and kind of keep us up to date? Or are they giving me a 10-minute warning, says Tom, wink, wink, we're heading back? Did you ever think that?
No, not once.
For whatever reason, I just thought that. It was
Not
like...
once. And you'll have to ask him. What exactly did you mean by this?
I don't think so either, but it was quite comical.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think it was a good trip. I mean, I was pleased with the event. There's some things in there I think I would change if I were, I guess, hosting an event of that size or doing. But I think coming off the pandemic and what they had to do, I think it was pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And who was it we were talking to? Somebody said there was a lot of options. Everybody was super excited. You know, it was the first like in-person event in 2 years. And they said there was just a lot of events. And next time they would do it a little different.
I think Matt was talking to one of the event coordinators. Like, it was an outsourced company out of Denver, I believe. And they were trying to put the event together. And I think what people were overwhelmed with is that all the breakout sessions, all the different, speakers and in rooms and areas, and it was just a lot to take in. And it was like, it was so much going on. People were just confused on where they should go and what they should do.
Yeah.
But, that was one opinion, I'm guessing, of maybe thousands.
Could be. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I really liked, my takeaways from that conference wasn't really the conference itself, but it was really Jason. I spoke with him today for not quite a long time, but for a few minutes, which sometimes turns into quite a long time. But it was funny because you could see it and hear it in his voice on like, and this kind of leads me into kind of some of the topics of this talk, I guess. But Jason, coming from what he's been doing with us over the past 2-3 years now, and kind of in the go, and he's always go. He's that typical squirrel running everywhere, doing everything at once. Mm-hmm. And he's had a time in these past couple of weeks to kind of not disconnect, but kind of just like regroup and figure out who Jason is and who he wants to be and kind of where he wants to go. And Jason, I think, is a lot like me, where he'll never have a 10-year plan, and I don't think he'll even have a 5-year plan. But I don't think he's really been at a point in his career where he's really had a plan, meaning like he found the purpose. And I know at that conference, during that conference, Jason was out of his element. He was somebody else. And Matt, I think, was completely in his element of who he is. But when Jason got back, he calls me and he says, "Tom, I like to talk about like, what does the next year, 2 years look like? And kind of what is it for him?" And it was funny because I kind of suspected he may say something. I wasn't quite sure. But what amazed me was that you take an employee and you take him or her out of their element of what they are doing every day and trying to figure that out, and then kind of give them the opportunity to kind of grow and expand and kind of see what happens. And some people, I think, things take off. I think some people are just, the old adage of like, oh, just go to this thing and come back. But for Jason, I think mark this podcast number 44, whatever we're on now, 40, I don't know, whatever we are. Victoria, you're going to help me here. But I think Jason is really finding his voice of where he's at. And I really think this conference that we went on to Washington, D.C. for NatCon was that point for him. And I think in the first time, I think he knows his direction a little bit.
You know what's funny, though? In a way, it's kind of funny.
What?
We've known it all along. Like, we've known this is Jason and this is who Jason is. Yeah. But it's just the path that we've taken to get there has been a little... he's ran up and down that same tree for the past 20 years, and he's visited all the branches, and I think finally he just found his path. And he's like, you know what? This is where I have to go, and this is the part of the tree I like the most. Yeah. But it's funny because as our company grows, and trying to make a little bit of a shift into, kind of dedicating ourselves to this nonprofit industry and helping these behavioral health organizations across the country, Jason is so passionate about that it's just I think that mixture of having that passion and desire, and Jason, what I was talking about, where he's finding himself, is really in that community of people helping people. It's really inside that behavioral health, mental health group of individuals and people, and knowing that everybody is out there trying to help somebody else. And it's not about helping, their businesses grow, generate more revenue, status, basically building a bigger title or a bigger resume. Literally everybody inside those worlds typically are about helping the people that they help.
And so obviously the nonprofit that we run, Jason's Heart, is very much into that. And Jason being the executive director of that, I think it was the first time where he actually kind of found himself and said, hey, this is where I want to be. And, he's a middle-aged guy. He's a great guy. I think now he's like, okay, I have my feet firmly planted. I'm taking off. And now I think it's our role, your role, my role, to really put the fire on it and make him succeed. So it's like you want to take, and I see this not a lot anymore, but people have employees and they think that, they're there to do a job and just cross the T's and dot the I's. And there are certain employees that you have to really manage to that. But I think the ones that want to grow and be that next person or that next stage is like you have to give them the autonomy to do so. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
I think that's a big topic for me right now, just even internally, because I know that, the people in our organization, the people that I'm working with in the other organizations that I'm working with, like finding that place of joy for them, because I'm tired of everybody coming to work and bitching about work and complaining about work and complaining about this and complaining about that.
You're always going to have people that do that.
You're going to have people that do that.
There's always a subset.
But my desire is to help people find their niche, find what it is that they love to do, find where they are happy and grow and can flourish. And when you find that for somebody, when you find that sweet spot, it's just better for everybody all around.
But do you think most employers understand that? I mean, at the end of the day, they have a business to run. They got to make sure that people are on time every day. They have to make sure that, things are being handled, and there is a process to that.
It's a hard balance.
Is this the fine line again?
It's a fine line.
There's always a fine line.
It's a fine line because, within a company, within an organization, there are expectations, there are norms, there are processes and procedures that we all have to follow in order to make that company successful. And sometimes you find people pushing against that and just wanting to kind of do their own thing and do it their way. And I don't care what the boss says. And that's kind of difficult, obviously. But when people are happy with their role and what they do, it just happens naturally. The difficult part is finding that fit for that person.
Well, I think for the person too, I was blessed when I was 23, maybe. I forget how old I was. Maybe I was 23, where I first got introduced into IT or technology. Maybe I was 22, I forget. Well, actually, I was probably about 14, but I'm talking in the grand scheme of like IT services. I was 23. I was a young kid, and I was blessed to the fact that I knew within a shadow of a doubt that first day at a little company called Automated Systems in Lincoln that I came back and I was just like, I was addicted. I was full squirrel on crack running up and down that tree as I am now. And so when it comes into that kind of stuff, but for me, I found that. Now, I don't feel I had an employer at that time to really give me the boost. I didn't have somebody there saying, oh my God, he lit up. We're going to encourage this. I think, he at the time was very much about, how many billable hours do you have and all this kind of stuff, and I think when you have that mix of that person that finds their passion in what they want to do, and they have that manager or that I hate the word boss, but they have that mentor there to really push them. That doesn't always line up. No. And I think Jason, in my opinion, Jason may have to comment on this. And hey, actually, Victoria, what I want you to do is I want you to have Jason watch his podcast and before you publish it. And I want Jason to kind of give me his input on this too, because he doesn't know we're talking about this kind of stuff. And I want him to comment on this, and maybe I'm completely wrong too. But I think that Jason, where he's at now, I'm not going to say his age, but where he's at, he's now finding these worlds lined up where he kind of feels that he knows the direction, and he's going to have, a lot of people pushing him at the same time in the direction that he feels that he has to go to make sure that he does not fail.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Heart and Hustle Podcast. I'm Michaela. Hopefully you all are doing well. This is Jason, Executive Director here at Jason's Heart, IT Services Manager here at Soren Group. I gotta say, this last 3.5 years have been a whirlwind. 3 years ago when I started here at Soren, I had no clue of where I would be at, or I would be in the spot here, sitting here talking to you on a podcast. If you know me, that's not me. So it's been a big change coming here, learning more about who I am and what I can do. We all have potential in ourselves. And when you find that potential and you find that niche where you can be that missing puzzle piece, you can be that thumb in the hole in the dam that's holding the water back. It's kind of an amazing feeling. And this has been a huge transition for me. Starting off with Soren Group and learning everything that they did, working with the clients, many of the nonprofits, seeing that they care so much for their clients and seeing how everything they do is for their clients' well-being, and realizing that's something I couldn't do, but I love what they do. And I wanted to be able to try to do what I can do to help them help their clients. And so this last 3 years, I've really been working as much as I can to do my part to help them help others. And now we have something with the Jason's Heart here. I remember when that first came out, I think it was on episode 4 where you started talking about it and how nervous I was. That's not the word that you used, but freaked out, I should say. And I was kind of freaked out, not necessarily about what we were doing, but how I fit into this and how would I be able to be that puzzle piece and be able to handle that role. And through this last 1.5 years, as we've been working towards the goal of having our first apprentice class, which is coming up here in July, working through that, I have grown a lot. And I feel that going out to National Council in Washington, D.C., that really kind of put all the pieces together. It brought me out of my shell. I was in a different environment where I didn't have to worry about a lot of the daily things. I could just worry about my function. What was I going out there for? I was there to learn. I was there to meet people. I wanted to find out what others are doing in different parts of the country to help out society. Passion is very important to me, because if you have a passion, then you have the drive, you have the focus, you have the direction. And that's something that I really want to install in all the workers here at Soren and all the apprentices that we're going to be working with here at Jason's Heart. Is I want to be able to find a passion in that person of what they like and what they enjoy, and try to incorporate that into something they can do as an employment. Because when you do that, it just makes it so much more rewarding. Thank you.
So, but I think when you find that in life, you have to just tackle it. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
A lot of people don't find that, which is sad to me.
A lot of people don't find that. I think they exist. And I think that they actually try too hard to find that, and they just never do. I think they really try to find that zen, but they don't know what it is that they're looking for. They just know it's something more than what they have now. But then typically they realize after so many years what they had wasn't that bad in the first place. Yeah, I don't know. Not in my case, no. Now it's much better.
How so?
No, bad joke.
Always a bad joke.
Always a bad joke.
Always a bad joke.
Yeah. So I don't know. Case in point. What else is on your mind?
I don't know. Kind of just along those same lines. I'm just thinking personally, I've not always loved every job I've had.
But when I do, das Equus.
But I have taken every job that I've had and tried to make the absolute best of it.
But that's you. You do that no matter what you do.
I know. And I think that's what is the difference between people. I think, like, I was talking to a client about this the other day. Actually, we had this conversation. One of the things that I remember about a conversation that I had with my grandma that I remember most, we were talking about
your mom's mom?
No, my dad's mom.
Okay, got it.
I wasn't able to see her very often, so I didn't have a ton of conversations with her, but one of the conversations that I had was about work. And I could have been like 21 or 22 at the time. And we were talking about careers and what I was doing at the time. I don't even remember what it was. But she said, every opportunity that you have is a stepping stone and a building block to your next opportunity.
I agree.
And I've never forgotten about that. And that has meant so much to me because I've taken every job that I have, every opportunity that I have, and dove into it and tried to learn as much as I can and tried to be the best me and tried to be, make it as fun as possible, as enjoyable as possible. And everything I've done has, this job has led to this, which led to this, which led to this. And it's like I almost gamified it in a way, just to see where it would take me and what I could learn and who I could become through it. And I love that challenge. And I find it sad when people don't take that same challenge. Work is not work to me. Yes, we all have to work. We all have to make a living. We all have to make money. But it's like work is so much more to me than just a job. And so many people look at it as just a job, just a way to make money. Yeah. And it's so much more than that to me. It's about self-development. It's about growth. It's about change. It's about what can I do for society. It's about so much more than just a paycheck.
Yeah, I definitely agree there. I think it becomes a point in time where I think everybody to a degree at some point in time feels like, oh, I got to go to work today to make money to pay the bills. And I think that's human nature. I think that's a piece to everybody, but I think the overall picture is, I agree with you. It's not about just paying the bills and going to work every day. It's about having fun and making the most of it and doing with what you love. Mm-hmm. Because there is that paradigm where, you do what you love and you do what you like. So, I love doing this. I like doing this. And there's this mushy center that these two things will combine in. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was, I knew I'd love to deal with people and I knew I'd love to deal with problems. And there was this technical flair where I enjoy solving the problems. Mm-hmm. And I think in any event, most people in this world can say that. You can probably say that exact same thing. You're just dealing with more of the emotional side of things. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Well, and even, the jobs that I haven't loved.
Burger King?
Burger King is one of them. That was like my first job, though. So
I wish I would have gone in and seen you with the Burger King hat on.
Yeah, that was my first job. But I looked at every opportunity that he had as, what can I glean from this? Mm-hmm. Like, what can I take away from this? Where is this opportunity going to take me? Even though I might feel like it's a dead end or it's not what I love and want to do for the rest of my life. I know that, but where is it going to take me?
Well, you also learned what you don't want to do too.
Oh yeah.
I had a lot of those jobs. I know I do not want to sell magazines over the phone. I do know I no longer want to make hush puppies at Long John Silver's. I no longer want to
Yes.
run a cash register at a hardware store.
So
on
many
a
things
Saturday.
to learn. So many things to learn about yourself.
But the vinegar fights were really kind of fun at Long John Silver's.
The vinegar
Yeah,
fights.
these big tubs of vinegar, these big pumps. He'd walk up to someone and go boom, boom, get
Oh, my
vinegar all
goodness.
up and down their back.
That sounds like fun.
No, it was fun. So, yeah. So
Sweet.
to cap this one out, there's going to be a video montage here of a bunch of fun things in National Harbor for this past week with Jason's Heart. And Victoria, you can do your best in making that happen. But thanks, everybody, for watching. Again, please comments below. Let us know. You can definitely contact her or I on any medium that you may see here, anywhere that Victoria's going to pop them up at, and kind of go from there.
Sounds good.
All right. We'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Bye.
That wasn't an M&M.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.